Okay. Uh, Black bar on the right and the left here. Yeah, we are re-engaged. It was that damn autopilot kept kicking off. You know, and that kind of stuff happens. Flight level 400. All of a sudden you see this little porpoising starting, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're on your own. Let's see. Good to see you, JB. Jack Black, good to see you. And let's see. Chase is there. LED landing lights. Man, those things are bright. The newer planes have them. They are fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Three-quarter S screen. Oh, three-quarter screen. There you go. Okay. Good evening. Glad to see you, Jerome. Ron from Chicago. It's got to be colder there than it is here. It's been windy here. Let's see. Matt's there. Joe from Paris, Tennessee. Been a long time since I've been there. I'm from Tennessee, Memphis. Let's see. So, oh, you saw 9 uniform uh, at the Houston Exec today. Okay. No, wait, no, that one 94. Maybe that must be the Challenger. Um, Gosh, we had what the Challenger was 5 Lima, and there was another one there. It's on a lease. Yeah, I don't know who's flying it now. Let's see. Habib, appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah. Anybody just got their instrument rating, commercial, CFI, private pilot, type, or something like that? And you guys see me looking over. I'm actually reading the comments, so I'm not really following the camera there. Yeah. Let's see. Hi, so great to see you. Oh, from the UK. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Let's see. Naples, Florida. Man, we go to Naples. In fact, I'm going there in a couple of weeks. But we'll get there. We'll just airline right back out. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Roy, good to see you from Pittsburgh. Wet and cold. Yeah, I'm ready for the summer. I don't know about you guys, but I am ready for all out summer. Usually by now it started heating up, but it's still like down in the 40s. Like 39, 40 degrees at night. Warms up during the day. Let's see who we got here. Oh, you're welcome, Samuel. Appreciate that. Uh, you got your couch potato rating, man. Man, I've been working on mine for a long time. In fact, I study on that one in the pilot lounge all the time. Yeah, yeah, because that's a tough one. It takes time. You've got to build the hours before you can get that couch potato rating. Let's see. Oh, close to your commercial, Joe Brown. Yeah, I know what you mean about the money, man. It is tough. It happens. When I was doing mine, uh, it just it's expensive and it takes time. Well, thanks, Miranda. I appreciate that. Yeah. Uh, let's see what we got here. Let's see. Flying on a round the world trip right now. First stop the UK, then Japan and China. Oh, maybe that's not the Challenger 604 guy. I thought that was Jeff. This is somebody else. Well, hey, man, that's quite a trip. Have fun on that one. Let's see. 78 today in South Alabama. That's nice. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to North Carolina tomorrow, is where we're going. Going there in the Excel. Let's see. I think 6 weeks off the summer. That's Chase. We got Aviator Kemp, South Florida. Oh, Daytona there, Rabbit Guard. Yeah, Daytona's fun. I say it's fun because we always go there when it's crazy, for a race or something like that. That's not one of our normal stops there, but it seems like every time we go, there is so much happening. I made a video of the last time we did it. I think the year before I made a video there also. Oh, Jack Black, Huntsville. Are you in Huntsville? Okay. I haven't been to Huntsville in years, and I remember going there as a kid, and they had the Huntsville Space Museum there, and I don't know how old I was then, 12, 13, something like that, but I thought it was just absolutely fantastic. I loved it. 2 hours in a 7.3 sim. Oh man. Oh, no, don't tell me you can't land that 7.3. I know you can do it. Yeah, but I will tell you this: it's always easier in the airplane than it is in the sim. Absolutely, without a doubt. Yeah. Let's see. We got Gary here. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that, Gary. Oh, economy going, gas is getting pilot's license increased that much. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Introductory flying lesson, $49. When I started my first flying lesson, the airplane itself was it was $35 an hour for a 152. And I can't remember how much the instructor was. I mean, it was definitely less than that. I just don't remember what it was. And when I started instructing, I do remember that I started off at $10 an hour and eventually got up to $12 an hour. And I was a full-time instructor. Not much. I mean, we were starving. I made about $400 a month. And there were two things that really kind of added to that when I could get it. The company I was working for, if I taught a ground school, I got a percentage for each person that was in that ground school. And that was actually more than I was making as a flight instructor. And then we had some part-time work we could do as a co-pilot for the company 135, and I can't remember what it paid, but that was not much at all, not much. And gosh, that was King Air 90, King Air 200, uh, the Baron, and the Duchess, and a Bonanza. So it was a string of stuff there. Let's see what we got here. Hey, Jim, I appreciate that. Man, those speakers, I've had those since I think I was 18. I bought those when I was 18. Uh, the tuner there, I had to replace the other one. I had a Technics. You know how they used to have the silver on the front? I love that thing, but it broke. Yeah. So, I mean, I could use the internet. I use the internet all the time, but sometimes you just got to have the old stuff with the speakers and turn it up. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Wesley Chapel, Florida. I'm not sure where that is. But I mean, we go to Florida a lot. Florida is probably our number one destination. Okay, Elliot got his private pilot late last year. Congratulations, man. Working on that commercial. That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here. Uh, I was just so busy last year. I did a ton of contract work. I didn't have a full time co-pilot, so I was working a lot. Well, I mean, I'll just tell you right here what happened. Mike retired, and that when that happened, they didn't want to hire somebody. You know, I thought, oh no, he was part time, and we can get somebody else. So uh, we had a problem finding people. I had a short list of people that were qualified, but excuse me, I apologize. Allergies with all this pollen here. Um, so I'd start talking to people. They'd say, I can't do it. And I said, well, do you know anybody that might be interested? And I'd get a name or a number. And so as I called, every time I would expand my list of people. And what happened was at several points, I mean, I'd have like a list of 50 people and nobody could do it, could do the trip. And that was a problem because I had to cancel a couple because we got like right up to the night before and couldn't cover it. In fact, I had people several times they canceled the night before. Fortunately, every one of those late cancellations we were able to fill because those actually every single one of those people that did cancel, they happened to know somebody that wanted to do it, and that was a godsend right there. Uh, but what I was getting at was so I expanded my list, and what happened was I had called so many people that people started calling me for help. They say, "Hey, we're short. Can you come help us?" And I would do that. It's really kind of slowed down now. I don't know if it's because of the economy or something else. It's just the way it is, though. I can't even remember where I was going for all that, but it doesn't really matter. Let's see. Oh yeah, Jack, that mount we could actually uh that stuff that we did to Colorado, it was always Colorado and where was the other place with down there in Arizona. Uh Mike loved to get out. In fact, this is one of the things about Mike that was great. I don't think I ever talked about it. I mean, he was a fantastic pilot. He was retired Air Force, retired airline. Um, I ended up working for him or with him for 10 years after he had retired. Uh, so we would do a trip, and I'd tell Mike, I said, "Hey, we got this trip Thursday. We're going to, you know, Phoenix, and we're going to be there for 2 nights." And so I'd say, "Okay, yeah, yeah." And he'd show up an hour before and would fly, would level off at cruise, and he'd pull out of his pocket a list and go snap, snap, snap. And he said, "Okay, I researched fun things to do," and he would have a list of 3 or 4 fun things that he had researched that he thought would be really good to do. And, he'd say, "Your choice." And he'd tell me what they were, what there was about each of them, and we'd go do something. Well, when it came time to go to restaurants, I always had the rental car. He'd get into the rental car and do the same thing. Snap, snap. He said, "Well, I did some research on where to eat in town here." And uh, he'd have a list that he had researched and gotten comments on the place and stuff like that. And my only restriction on it was if you couldn't find prices on the menu, even if you found the menu on the internet, we're not going there. That's a tough one to explain to the people that are paying for the trip. Uh, so that was great. It was like I had my own tour guide every single trip, hiking, exploring museums, uh, and sometimes we'd take the rental car and just go like head out of Phoenix, up to the Grand Canyon or something up there or different places. I would drive up in the Superstition Mountains, uh, find like, gosh, I think it was the Tonto Indian. Um, it wasn't, well, they did have a museum there, but I think it was some type of park or something at that point or something like that. But just all sorts of things you wouldn't expect. Minimum qualifications to sit in the right seat. Uh, that is, well, really legally, as per the FAR, all you got to have is a 6155, which is 3 takeoff and landings, which is an approach go, through the limitations on the aircraft systems and emergency procedures. So in a day, you could literally qualify for the right seat. What actually comes into play are the insurance requirements. Our insurance requirements require that both pilots have attended uh, within the previous 12 months a full motion simulator training program. So basically, even if you're not typed in the airplane, uh, you've still got to go to someplace like flight safety and go to a 3-day recurrent course is what you got to do, uh, which is very, very expensive to do that. It's about $10,000 just for the training event, which is unfortunate because really we didn't get hit with that. I think we got hit with that about 2 years ago, and a lot of places got hit by it, and it's really caused some problems with staffing because a lot of companies, the guy in the left seat, well, they do one of two things. Either they would have co-captains who could switch back and forth. I've worked in that situation before. But then others would have one captain, always in the left seat, and then the other pilot would be a guy who, had training in the airplane but wasn't necessarily typed. Mike was not typed, and he did not want to get typed. He could very easily have done it, but he just said right up front, he said, "Hey, I'm doing this for the fun. I'm as long as you buy me a steak dinner every night and a glass of wine, I'm good." And and he said, "I do not want to have to do all the paperwork and everything that comes with, the left seat." He said, "I'm retired. I'm enjoying this." Yeah. So thanks, Jason. Appreciate it. Excuse me. Let me read what we got here. Who do I enjoy watching on YouTube? You know, uh, I watch flying stuff, but what I watch more than anything is science stuff. And I love stuff about SpaceX. and the rocket stuff. Uh, Gosh, I got into a binge of watching stuff on black holes recently, is what I did. But I should have brought a glass of water or something. Excuse me. Let me see if my wife will get one for me. Hold on just a minute. I'll be right back. Hey, Chris, would you mind grabbing me a glass of water? Okay, so uh, yeah, and then other than that, I like history, a lot of history stuff. What's that? I can't tell it. Uh, she said, let's see, Orlando to St. Louis. Oh, Jake, I might see you around over there because theoretically, we should be back from our trip to North Carolina. Uh, that's supposed to end late Thursday night. I'll say near misses on takeoff and landing. Greg the pilot. That's Jim. That's near misses on takeoff and landings. Okay. I'm not sure you're asking this question. Maybe you're asking something else. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's my wife, Chris. Mm. She said you couldn't see her. I thought you could. Uh, so near misses. I have had two near misses early in my career, which the first one was training out in the rice fields of Arkansas as a flight instructor, where we were doing practice engine failures and stuff like that. And it was summertime. No, it was actually early in the spring. And we were setting up for a field out there, one of those farm fields. And we're coming in, and I'm just about to tell him, that's great, let's go. And crop duster right in front of us. I don't think he ever saw us. I'm glad we saw him. Um, but I mean, it was right at an angle. We never saw him off to the left. The other one, this one I don't quite understand. We were coming out of the Bahamas, and we were in a Citation 3, Citation 650, heading up towards Fort Lauderdale, and we were in and out of clouds. I think we were approximately 4,000 feet, in and out, in and out, in and out. And we got a call from ATC saying they had traffic. They were calling traffic, and they had no altitude alert on this traffic. And he said, yeah, it's looks like he's going to pass, or something like that. So he's calling it to us, but all of the sudden, when he thinks the guy's going to go past us, this guy is at our altitude and comes out of the clouds in front of us, and I can actually see them in the cockpit as they fly by off the left. Uh, and like I said, we were with ATC. He could see us. This guy, and this was many years ago. I think he was just scud running. It was a very light twin that he was in, and fortunately, we didn't meet each other. Let's see. Oh, near missing an Aerostar. Let's see. Nearly smashed. Oh man, I'm glad that you made it. That's one of those things you just never know when it's going to happen. And yeah, and there you go. You say the guy not paying attention, and he probably wasn't. And but then sometimes if you're in an area like an airport or something like that, and you're looking one way, looking for traffic, the other guy's coming from a different direction, you just never know. And then you see these accidents on YouTube where, somebody's coming into land and somebody's taking off. And so the guy that's coming in doesn't see the guy down below him that's coming up like that. The guy below him doesn't see the guy above him. Aerostar, it's been a lot. I had flown in an Aerostar once as a passenger, but it's been a long time since I've seen an Aerostar. See, I would think crop dusting was a lot of fun. I agree with you on that. They have to be skilled. You are absolutely right. And if you ever watch some of those guys crop dusting, man, they are just right over the ground and over those little. Sometimes they're little earthen berms or dikes, just boom, right over those things. Let's see, can control the field Illinois crop duster. Yep. Uh, yeah, the ADSB does help a lot with that, but not everybody's got it, and sometimes it goes out. And like you said, you have that guy out there that was in and out of the cloud, 4,000 feet. Just I don't know what he was doing. Never flown a Stearman. Yeah. Oh, that would be cool. That would be very cool. Wow, bird strikes. Okay. Electra. Yeah. What a mess is right. Okay. Yeah. Well, Jeff, I mean, they can read yours right there. Uh, I've had a few. I had one in a King Air 200, and we were coming into land, and right at the end of this runway, and it was a small runway off to the side of the other one, that was uh, like a little ditch area for drainage, and it had some tall grass there. And right as we are coming up on the end of that runway, uh, this flock of birds flushes right out of it. And I think all of a sudden they break. And I'm thinking, all right, we're going to miss them. But they do something like this. Boom. And it just, oh man, they just went everywhere. It happened so fast. I mean, it was just like that. And there was no place to go. And they were right there. I mean, we were just feet over this runway. And it just bang, 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 bang. All over lady in back is hollering. So we land and check the airplane, and there are birds everywhere. Uh, blood, all of it. It's just a mess. Uh, we were at a low speed because we were just about. Actually, we were just about to flare right there. Uh, so the damage we did had, I think one of the nacelles for the intake, uh, right below the engine there in the 200, had to be pounded, whatever they did to push it out. But we had birds caught in the gear and stuff like that. Other one punched a hole in the radome of the. It was a Citation 560 XL. Yeah, it was a Hawk. Boom, and that was right after takeoff. That was at about. I mean, we were there. That was probably 60, 70 feet above the runway, accelerating when he just like right down. Oh, let's see. Best way to get your foot into flying the Grand Caravan. I would think probably freight. I didn't get into it because of freight, just because one of the owners of our Excel happened to have one, and it is fitted with an executive interior. It's basically down to the lake and back for most of the trips. But freight, that's where a lot of them originally were, and I think probably most of them still are in that part of the industry right now. Let's see. I have never flown a Mooney. Have never flown a Mooney. They're nice airplanes, though. Yeah, my wife's grandfather had an Aerostar, and like I said, just one flight in it. That was all, and yeah, he eventually sold it. That was years ago. Yeah, the birds can be a problem in some places. I'm just thankful we have never hit, anything bigger than that hawk, like gosh, I don't know, a seagull or you know, big bird. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, oh, that's right. Yeah, skydivers. They use caravans for those. Um, oh, you hit an eagle. Wow, that is a big bird. Yeah, yeah. Excuse me. Let's see. Jonah start SIC citation type rating in a couple of months out of Springfield. That's great. Yeah. Uh, citations. I mean, I love citations. I've got lots of experience in them. Yeah. Let's see. Mother-in-law's first experience in a caravan was mapping. built time fast. See, that's the thing about jobs like that in airplanes like a Caravan, most of them that are like the ones doing freight and things like that. You know, that is a lot of time, a lot of time. That's how you can build time quickly, and it's a turboprop, so you get turbine experience with it. I try to update it after each trip, my logbook. And there have been times when I have not, and gotten way. I mean, the worst I did was a year behind once, and I really ended up regretting that. Now I try to keep up. Yeah. Well, every year insurance companies they want to know what your total time is, PIC time, SIC, multi-engine, instrument time, last 12 months, last 9 months. It just like, yeah, yeah. What I should have done was switch to an electronic logbook, which I never did, but I should have. See, hang on. Ooh, 4 or 5 at a time. I mean, that's scary because you're going fast enough. They're big enough. A lot of damage. You can take out engines, windshields. Yeah. Well, thanks, Stanley. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you. Oh gosh. Gosh, how can we meet? Well, I can't really put anything on the internet here, but chances are we'll run cross paths because I'm at Spirit. I'm at the downtown airport. Actually, I used to work out of the downtown airport full time, and now I work out of Spirit full time. Yeah, so I mean, you're going to see me around here somewhere, that's for sure. Let's see. Okay, short end numbers. Okay, people ask me about this all the time because I fly November 9 uniform. To Quebec is the sovereign, 5 Lima, and it just goes on and on. The guy that I worked with, or worked for, owned a helicopter company that provided news helicopters, pilots, and maintenance as a package. And he bought and sold helicopters and airplanes also. And he ended up with, I think, about 95 helicopters. But when he would get one that had a short end number and it came time to sell it, uh, he would reserve the end number and save that end number for future use. And he really liked them. So that's where that's coming from. Just the fact that he bought and sold so many airplanes. Uh, Parks being as yeah, I used to work at the Parks Airport for probably 8 years. Had an office out there and did 135. Was a chief pilot. Um, Gosh, I flew a lot of different things out there. I mean, I flew King Airs, Citations. Let's see, uh, CJ, the Mustang, Bravo, Encore, Citation 3, just a whole score of different things. Oh yeah, I've flown into Springfield. Absolutely, yeah. Hey, hey, where in Africa are you from? When I did my initial in the Caravan, uh, the guy that was sitting next to me in the class was from Nigeria. If you flew a Caravan there, oh, any guns is good. It's been a long time since I've been in there, Hayden. JB, yes, yes. Uh, the gentleman that I uh, got my gave me my instrument ride, the examiner, excuse me, he would hang out where I worked at, and he also worked for a company in Arkansas and did a trip. And um, that late that night, he took off. I can't remember which airport it was. It was a small airport, and right after takeoff, he lost an engine, and it was a twin, and ended up going into a lake. And he died that way. Actually, the crash didn't kill him. He ended up drowning, is what happened, is what they said. And then there was a young lady that I knew who she sat next to me in class when I was going down to Henderson. Henderson State there in Arkadelphia, south of Little Rock, and she had just turned 21. And we were in an aviation course. I can't remember what it was, but that weekend she took her family out for a night flight, and there had been some weather, and they ended up it had cleared, but they ended up flying into the back of it, and she lost control of the airplane, and they all died on the airplane. And then there have been other people. If you do it long enough, you're going to know people who unfortunately have, lost their lives in airplanes. Things happen. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. Boise. I have been to Boise. Uh, but it has been a long, long time. Yeah. I think I may have only been there twice. Oh, sticky bits, I believe you. If there's no autopilot, you are a real pilot. Let me tell you something. I flew freight at night for a couple of years in turbocharged Cessna 210s, and there was no autopilot. There was no GPS. I mean, it was basic. There was only one seat in the airplane, the pilot seat, and that airplane was full of boxes every night. So, I'd just bebop along every night, no radar, no autopilot. I mean, let me tell you, I got that stick and rudder stuff down. And that scan, yeah, I was good at that. I was good. Yeah. That, boy, you can develop skills doing that stuff. Let's see. Bum, bum. Well, thanks, Hayden. I appreciate it, but I have no idea when I'm going to be getting back down there. Oh, okay. You got me beat there with the 5 hour legs, hand flying. Oh, that's they're just beating you up there, man. That's rough. But I do have my respect for that. That's for sure. I don't. Yeah, I have been to Rapid City. Yeah, yeah. That when I was doing 135, I've been in there. Let's see. I believe I have lost friends. Uh, See, you're right, JB, and there are others, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, the children of the magenta line. Yes, you are right. Yeah, I got the thing about it is you do it so much, and it becomes second nature. You don't even think about it. I'm going to apologize again. I keep reading the comments and the cameras up here, uh, but it becomes second nature. I mean, you just get it down. It's like, oh yeah, here we go. It's like, oh, I could read a book while I'm doing this. I didn't, but it just becomes so second nature to you. Oh, which check ride you got, Matt? Uh, oh, pointers for a check ride. I always tell people this, especially if you have not taken many check rides, because you're going to be nervous. Everybody's nervous when they take a check ride. So you finish the oral, you get in the airplane, you're flying along. About 30 minutes into the ride, you make a mistake. Okay, first of all, as long as it's not huge and you immediately recognize you made a mistake and you make an immediate and positive correction to it, you're probably okay. If not, the examiner, what he will do at that point is he will say, okay, that was not satisfactory. That is a bust. He said, and he'll tell you, he said, we can continue the ride and you can get credit for the rest of it. And we come back and we do that, or we discontinue the ride right now and come back and do everything up till this point. Uh, the first part of this is what I said there with the immediate and positive correction. Keep going till he tells you that it is discontinued. If he tells you that, I know you're going to be upset. This is hard to do. Put it behind you. Put it behind you and continue with the ride. Knock out as much of that as you possibly can. And that way, when you come back, instead of being out there for an hour, you may only be out there for 10 minutes doing one approach, one maneuver, whatever. Come back the next day and you've got it. That's what I tell you about doing a check ride. And as far as the check ride for, the oral part of it, I mean, there's a lot for all of these things. But if you're doing a type ride, 80% of that oral is going to be uh, limitations, memory items for emergency procedures, and all of the warning lights. When a warning light comes on the advisory panel, what does that mean? What are you going to do? And then you're going to get maybe one or two questions on each system. But if you know all the other stuff, you're going to know probably about all those systems also. Yep. Mike, you're absolutely right about the weather. Yeah. And Krusty, oh, okay. Yeah, learn to fly out of Spirit. You know that there are a lot of people that are learning to fly there out of Spirit. There used to be a lot of student activity there, and then it went away for a few years, and now it's back up. I mean, it's busy on the north side there every single day. Let's see. Oh, Matt Whitmire got his private pilot's license. Congratulations. Let's see. Yeah. Uh, you're absolutely right. We are FMS managers. And I tell you what can be really confusing is when you're going between airplanes, different airplanes, and one of them's a Garmin, the next one's a Universal, and then you've got Honeywell, and then you've got the Collins Pro line. It's like, oh my gosh, that is a lot to keep up with. That really is. One good thing about the airlines is they're not doing that. They're flying one aircraft at a time, one FMS. Get that down. Yeah, and then maybe they'll, in 5 years, they'll upgrade or move to a different airplane, and that may have something different in it. But you're not going to be doing this shifting back and forth, which you tend to find with, companies that have multiple airplanes are 135 operations. Oh yeah, Steve-O. I've watched Steve-O. I've noticed he's got some emergency videos where he had problems with his airplane. Let's see, and he's been very successful with his YouTube stuff. Uh, Unfortunately, with the live stuff, I have not been successful yet, but I'm going to keep plugging away at it. Okay, Friar Dubs. Okay, why do the owners keep leasing out the airplanes? Okay. Uh, well, the airplane that I fly, the primary airplane, which is my full time job, is 9 Uniform. Uh, there are three partners in that airplane that they bought into this airplane. One of the partners is a gentleman I had worked for about 12 years, the gentleman with all the helicopters that buys and sells. A lot of times when he buys, like he bought two Sovereigns together as a package deal from Cessna. And they had actually been NetJets airplanes, and they had traded those planes back in. So those two Sovereigns he actually bought with the intent of leasing them. And they were in very good condition and new interiors, beautiful airplanes, absolutely beautiful. And but he had never bought them actually to use for personal use. He bought them as part of his business, and the goal was to lease it. Multi-year leases, 5-year leases is his preference, doing that. And he does send a number of airplanes out on long-term leases like that. Let's see. Yeah, always on 9 Uniform because that is my full time. That's my full time gig. Yeah. And then I have my side hustles that I do. I know that sounds kind of strange, somebody my age, but, I do the contract work. I do, YouTube, and I do, other stuff. Oh, okay. All right. Lord Rawnsley just finished my first rotation for Part 135 on the 525. Flew literally all over the country. I believe it. I believe it. That's where I do a lot of my training at Orlando also. Yeah, yeah. That 525, uh, I got a 525 single pilot rating. That was my first type rating. That was out of San Antonio. And that was a very interesting experience. Very interesting. Uh, but I love the 525, the CJs and the M2. They're great airplanes. We've got in our hangar, there's a CJ3 in there. And they've asked me a couple of times to, do stuff on it. But really, with all the other stuff I do, I don't have a lot of time for that. What else we got here? A fractional, like uh, NetJets, where they do quarter share fractionals. So each person that they take on that is a customer basically buys a quarter share of an airplane. He owns a fraction of the airplane. Uh, and that's where that fractional stuff came from. And there are other operators that do similar things, I can't think of any of the names of them right now. Uh, but there are others out there doing that. Let's see. Congratulations on that commercial multi. Uh, let's see. Okay, CFI is a good way to build time. If you don't have time and you got to build time, that's an excellent way to get time. Another way to do is pipeline patrol, flying skydivers, uh, and then you're going to find also there are other companies that will hire on 135 SICs, low time SITs. A busy 135 operation is a way to build a lot of time quickly in different airplanes, because a lot of times they won't leave you in the same airplane. Once you get hired on, they're going to want to take advantage of you. They'll try to. I mean, I've literally, with another company I was working for, doing 135. There were some times when I would be flying 3 or 4 different types of airplanes, just back and forth, back and forth. And that was the exception. But there were just times when there was that overlap between those airplanes being there and being qualified in them. Oh, I met him just briefly once. Also, Squawk Code. He and I met in. It was a signature in Tampa. He was doing a quick turn. I was doing a quick turn, and he was running in, and I was running out, and we almost ran into each other. And said, "Hey, hey, hey," and off we go. Let's see. Oh yeah, I remember that one with the bullet hole. Absolutely. Let's see. He does get the clicks. Well, I mean, he's been doing it for a long time, and he is consistent, and he does a good job. Uh, I am not consistent because I've got a job that changes a lot. Let's see. Oh, the fuel panel video, Tommy. Okay. It probably irritated some people. I put that less than a 2-minute video up there. That I was doing something with my channel, and I was going down through it, and I noticed that there, and it had 15 views on it, and it was not. I had, I guess, shut it down, and it was not online. It was not on YouTube. It was, I guess, I don't know what they call it, dormant or something like that. And I thought, oh, I'll click it back on. And as soon as I clicked it on, I didn't realize it was going to send something out to everybody. I figured it'd get, maybe 50 views, people interested in the Challenger, going to Challenger school or something like that. And that was Jeff that did that. I thought, oh, that's instructive. That's good. Yeah. I normally put up, 10, 15, 20-minute videos, but sometimes I do that. And then I catch some heat for putting the short stuff up, but that's okay. And so I told him, I said, hey, man, I put that up, and it got like I don't know, 2,700 views. And he's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, yeah." I didn't even think about it. It actually ended up being a segment in a video that we had made about a trip we did in the Challenger together. And I said, "You want to make some more of these things?" And so we talked about it, and he said, "I'm going to really eventually I'm going to get this live streaming stuff down, and we got to do a live stream together, have two mics, stuff like that." And he's like all into that, but I got to get it down first because this was a mess today. Got to figure out what I'm doing wrong here. Part of it is my computer failed, and I'm using my laptop, my work laptop, so it's like folded up and all this stuff's plugged into it and everything. Yeah, so I've been encouraging him, trying to get him to make some stuff. And I said, when I was talking to him, he was, I think, in Teterboro or White Plains. I said, you could sit in your hotel room right now and you know so much about that airplane, just start going through the systems or start going, make a video for each one. It doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be perfect, put it up. And anybody that's about to go to a formal school for that airplane or not even a formal school would love uh, to get that. So you may start doing something. How I got. Okay. All right. The question is, how did I get hired at the company I'm at? Okay. Oops. Uh oh. Are we? Can you guys still see me there? I actually hit the touchpad on my. Oh, there. Okay, it's up. Uh, I was a full time contract guy, and the guy I was working for had all sorts of different airplanes. The wait, I was ended up on retainer with him at one point, but was still doing the contract stuff. He then one of his friends happened to be the guy that I worked for this airplane, who would occasionally take trips with him down to the Bahamas or something like that, because he had with him. I flew, gosh, he G2, G3, Falcon 50, uh, Cessna Citation Ultra, Falcon 20, 501, uh, all sorts of different stuff. But then also did stuff on the side, and okay, so I did this trip that ended up being a 3-day trip with a lot of problems. The guy who flew with me was the other guy's chief pilot, fixed wing chief pilot at the other operation. So we just hit it off in 3 days. And by the end of the 3 days, it's like, hey, we're brothers. And yeah, I'll help you out with your stuff. You help me out with mine. So uh, we ended up doing a 4 or 5 day trip to Canada. And while I'm sitting there in Canada, the guy that, I'm doing the other stuff for calls and said, "Hey, I got a trip first thing tomorrow morning." I said, "Yeah, that's great, except for I can't do that." And he says, "Why not?" "Because I'm in Canada." And it's like, "What? What are you doing in Canada?" "Well, I'm here with your buddy's chief pilot doing a trip." Yeah, so I'd end up doing a lot of work for him also. And so he like gets into this whole thing and says, "Oh, okay," because I was living 100 miles away. He says, "You need to move here." And I said, "No, I don't." Yeah, he said, "Yeah, you do. We got to talk about this. You got to move here." I guess so he keep an eye on me. And I said, "Look, I'll just make this easy. We'll just go ahead and bring it to an end, and I'm all good with that." And that was it. So I then ended up doing so much work for the other guy that they actually thought I was a full time employee. I mean, they started giving me this stuff for the 401k and all this stuff, and it's like, "Oh, what do you mean you're not full time?" And so I became a full time uh, guy over there, their chief pilot and stuff like that, and that's how I ended up working for him. And then He ended up buying 9 uniform and decided that was kind of going to kind of be his regular plane. And he took on 2 partners that bought, shares into it. So that's how I ended up in 9 uniform with that. It's complicated. I mean, I think most people, their aviation careers are not as convoluted as mine. And I would say some of it's been my own fault. Um, but I'm not unhappy with it in any way. You know, I don't hold grudges. So here I am. Oh, first jet job, the Challenger 300. Um, I could give you some advice. Well, my first time in a Challenger 300, I didn't get typed in it. I just started working in the right seat. And I turned that around and started doing it, making money with other people also. Um, but you got to be careful who you're working for. I mean, I don't know who you're working for, what they'll let you do. Uh, so you just got to kind of feel that out yourself. But study up on the airplane. You know, uh, I would go ahead and see if you can't get a manual for it. Get like a one of those uh, sheet. Well, you know what? I think for the Bombardier Challenger stuff, it's hard to get hold of stuff for it. I think uh, because I've tried to get some stuff, and it was hard for me to get. In fact, I didn't get nearly what I thought I needed. But as much information as you can get on that airplane, like limitations, memory items, systems, stuff like that, get hold of it and study it before you go to school. Uh, that would be great benefit to you. $11 for Jet A and Teterboro. It's getting expensive, and yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that. It's more difficult, Ralph, to go in and out of Mexico than it used to be. It is it is more complicated to go into Mexico than it is to come back into the US. Because when I last did it, you had to get all sorts of permits. You have to have a handler. There was always like one more thing, one more thing. And 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 I've gone before also where it's just been kind of a shakedown also. You know, you come back into the US, you file the APIS, put all the passport information on and all that. You set up the customs time, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, going the other direction though, yeah, they're going to want to see all sorts of stuff. And then you're probably going to have some form of Mexican insurance. You're going to have to send them documents for the airplane, documents for the pilots, get different permits for the airport. So basically just get a handler and they'll send you a list of all the stuff. They'll give you an estimate, but it gets expensive. Let's see. Oh, no, I have never been sailing, but I do think it would be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Tommy, oh, Tommy's right. If you're going to be, even if you want to be an airline pilot, aviation is a small community, compared to other industries. And in a sense, it's separate from everything else. Uh, Networking, you ought to start doing that as soon as you start taking lessons. You know, other pilots, get to know them. They know other pilots. You start looking for a job, and especially if you don't have time for whatever it is you want to go into, but you need to build time. A lot of times at your airport, if somebody loses a pilot and they're looking for another pilot, first thing they do is around the airport, word of mouth. Uh, then, if they can't find anybody there, that's when they go outside looking for help, and actually go through hiring agencies, put something on the internet, things like that. Yeah, but the networking is super important. If you don't do it, you can still find things, but it's going to be more difficult. And even for like airlines, if you want to get on Southwest, and a couple of Southwest pilots, and they can tell you, how to do different things, what you need to look out for, what you need to have on your resume, stuff like that. They may give you a reference. Yeah, they're definitely, that's what you need right there. Let's see what we got. Uh, you know, Sticky Bits, I've done that kind of stuff for so long. I'm totally comfortable. I had a guy call me out of Minnesota today. I've never met him. Um, you know, no name on his phone number. And I thought that could be a scam call. I'm going to answer it anyway. Sure enough, it was somebody looking for an Excel pilot for Thursday. And I said, I'd love to do it, but I can't. I'm flying. I said, but if something else comes up, keep me in mind. So I may still get something from him. Excuse me, let me get some water here. uh, we have a lot of pollen here. It just drives me crazy. Excuse me. All right, let's see. Okay, that's a good question. Frank, he says, please compare difficulty of a King Air. I was typed in a 350, flew the 200s with jet types. I would say because of the prop, it's more challenging in a turboprop. Because a jet, the engine fails, you've got to, maintain straight flight, keep climbing, clean it up, but you don't have to feather the prop. You don't have that problem because, a turboprop, if you don't feather that prop, you've got a lot of drag out there that you're going to have to deal with. But other than that, there are a lot of similarities. Uh, but yeah, I think the fact that it's got a prop, and of course, the props, further out there, so it's got a longer arm. So, but that's just me. Okay, let's see. Stu R. That's a really good question. Do I see a cooling in the overall corporate charter market? I th- I could be totally wrong. I think I would say yes, but I don't think it's going to last long because however it slows down, that's only going to be for a limited amount of time because there are fewer pilots. There are fewer, all these people in aviation, uh, they're not enough of them. They're just not enough. So even if it slows down, a slowdown might end up looking like a normal period, for hiring that was in the aviation industry. Yeah, because if it slows down, it's still coming back. Let's see. You're right about the majors, and one other thing about the majors that okay, um, a lot of people would not like what I do because there's so much change in it. There's so much uh, different things, different airplanes, inconsistency, uh, just so much change. When you get with the airlines, you've got a set schedule. You know what you're going to be doing a month from now. Uh, and that really counts for a lot. And with some people, that's everything, because I've seen people that have gone into, the corporate aviation and they just have trouble dealing with the schedule uh, that is not set. And that's just a difference in people. Um, I'm not one of those. So it doesn't bother me at all. And if you are, you definitely want to go with the regional and go into the airlines. And it may not even be you. It just be that you have a family situation or something like that where you absolutely have to have a set schedule. Let's see. Now, this is, yeah, you're right. Contracting can be hit and miss, but this is something also about contracting that happens. You end up meeting a lot of people working in different places, and a lot of these places that are looking for help uh, to cover a trip, it's not because the pilot's on vacation. It's because they don't have a pilot. They're looking for a full time pilot. So it's another way to, if you don't have a full time job, to find a full time job and even see if you even like the company. Um, yeah, because I got offered, I think, 4 jobs last year, and every single one of them had something to do with the fact that I had helped them out because they were short a pilot. Yeah, Oreo, that's absolutely right. Yes, there are lots of niches there. Yeah. And that's a Flyboy, that's a great indicator right there. The fact that NetJets is flying a record number of flights is really, I mean, that right there is an indicator also of what's going to happen. Yes, Danny, you can be a pilot with glasses. Yes. I'm pretty sure that, well, my first instructor only had one eye. He had lost an eye in Vietnam. He had been a helicopter pilot. Uh, now, the if you are in a situation like that, excuse me, with one eye, you've got to take a ride with the FAA and demonstrate that you can safely fly the airplane with one eye. And that's what he did. Uh, he did that. Um, but I mean, most people glasses. Uh, you just have to correct your vision to 20/20 with glasses. That's it. Or you can wear contacts. Yep. Okay, I'm just looking to see what people have here to say before I gotta go. Let's see. Okay, Stu R. Okay, that's a good question. How does a 121 type person transition to 91/135 biz jet work? What would you recommend? Okay. There are some people that are in the biz jet world that would not hire somebody because you were 121. Um, yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. So, this is what I would do because there were periods where there were layoffs with the airlines, and then airline guys would be looking for, you know, jobs at the airport, the local airport, and they wouldn't get hired. And that was because, and it's not every. This is first of all, that is not everybody. I'm just telling you that there are some places that will not do that because they want people that will do everything. So you got somebody that's coming in from a very structured environment where you've got a lot of things that are being done by other people. Whereas if you go to this unstructured environment, uh, you're going to be doing a lot of the stuff that was done by other people there. You're going to be loading the bags. You're going to be cleaning the airplane. You're going to be taking care of the lab. You're going to be stocking it up. And I mean, I've had jobs where I fueled the airplane also and towed it. Um, and not everybody's going to be willing to do that. They're going to say, "No, I'm a pilot. I'm a pilot." Um, so this is what I was going to get to, though. This is if I were from St. Louis and I had come up in the St. Louis world as a pilot, and I went to fly for American or Southwest or something like that, I would have still maintained my contacts with the people that I knew in general aviation in the St. Louis area because if you get caught in a slowdown with a layoff and you get laid off and you're called back for 5 or 6 years, Well, you know, it's not going to be fun if you've got to go work in Target or something like that. And having those contacts will help a lot. You know, finding another a fill in type pilot job that you can do for that. So, unfortunately, that's just the way it is. All right. Well, I've got to run. I've enjoyed it, and I want to thank everybody. I really appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate your support, and I apologize for the live stream start off there. Yeah, I am eventually going to get this down. It's the it's getting the OBS to work with the YouTube studio and the laptop. Okay. But thanks so much. You guys fly safe out there. Be good. And I'll see you guys next time. And let's see if I can make it stop. Boom. Nope, that didn't do it.